Hey sweet thing, and welcome home to day 29 of our Advent calendar. Today's a direct continuation from yesterday. So go ahead, get yourself settled into whatever your comfortable posture is today. You might be squeezed into the corner of your favourite armchair, or spread eagled on the floor, or sitting with a nice upright spine. Find comfort wherever you are and make sure that you can breathe freely. Apart from that, it's pretty much your choice. When you get into your nice, comfortable position, relax your gaze or close your eyes, and let's take a nice settling breath together. So breathing in through the nose or the mouth, whatever's comfortable today. Opening the mouth and sighing it out loud. Another couple just like that. Filling the whole body with fresh oxygen on your inhale. And sighing it out, putting something down that you don't need anymore. And one more time. Big inhale. And arrive into the here and now on your exhale. Beautiful. So as you begin to arrive, as you start to check in with your body, I want you to really pay attention to what you're noticing today. Yes, these daily check-ins are supposed to cement this habit of connecting with yourself. But if what you're finding is that you don't feel good for whatever reason, maybe mentally you're not feeling okay, maybe emotionally feels quite turbulent, or maybe just your body hurts. Often the place that we go to is to criticize or to judge that feedback and to immediately seek to rectify it however we can. And if we can't change it or fix it, then we either try and distract ourselves or we run away screaming. And said without any shade at all, because I am a run and hider of long standing. Hey, knowing our patterns is a powerful, powerful thing. I'm trying to do different things these days, but yeah, that pattern is very, very strong in me, so I know what I'm talking about, and that it might be a thing for you too. So what do you do if you check in and you notice that you're not feeling okay? First thing I would say is that it's okay. We have all of these big human emotions, don't we? And the older I get, the more convinced I am that the reason that this is so is because we're meant to feel them. We're not meant to distance ourselves from them or convince ourselves that the comfortable, pleasant ones are the only ones with any validity. I mean, how often do we learn from happiness or from excitement or from getting something we wanted? Usually the lessons that stay with us for the majority of our lives are the ones that came from a hard place. So perhaps it's a teaching tool, but don't try and discern the reason for the feeling while you're experiencing it. It's that old saying that pain is inevitable and suffering is optional. And I've found over the years that the suffering I create by trying to work out why I'm having a feeling while I'm having a feeling, it's unnecessarily cruel. So if you're having one of those days, I'd like to remind you of one of the loveliest quotes I know by Hafiz or Shiraz. And it goes, "I wish I could show you when you are lonely or in darkness, the astonishing light of your own being. The light doesn't only come out when we're feeling happy and sparkly. The light comes when we are brave enough to sit with our feelings regardless of how painful they might be. And here's the thing as well, that by being honest with ourselves about how we're feeling, we create safety over time to feel things that we'd rather not feel. We also create a container after that feeling has passed for us to be able to dig into it if that's what we choose to do. To notice our patterns of behaviour and the way that we soothe or ignore ourselves. Maybe you become aware of particular times of year or phases of the moon, or when you eat certain foods or surrounded yourself with particular company, the effect that that has as ripples into the rest of your life. And you can choose to dive into those, or you can choose to leave them alone. But I think the most important thing I can tell you is that on the days you don't feel okay, there's no obligation for you to put a brave face on it. But if you can remind yourself that it's okay to not feel okay, and that's likely not going to be there forever, that creates a little safety bubble where you can breathe again. And you stop identifying with the story that you tell yourself that you're somehow broken. No. You're a human being having a human experience, and let's face it, some human experiences suck beyond the telling of it. It's not just you, sweet thing. I can promise you that. Everybody is carrying something around that nobody else knows about. It's okay not to be okay. There's a quote I found the other day by Cynthia Ocelli on my Tiny Buddha's Page a Day calendar. For a seed to achieve its greatest expression, it must come completely undone. The shell cracks, its insides come out, and everything changes. To someone who doesn't understand growth, it would look like complete destruction. And isn't that just the truth of it? We fall apart, we put ourselves back together, we fall apart, we put ourselves back together, and this is what it means to be human. The thing that I think is really important, which leads directly on to the next related idea, is that it's okay to disappoint people. If you are having one of those not okay days, being able to take care of yourself, even if you've committed to doing something, might be the wisest thing that you can do. Because yes, showing up is important, but showing up reluctantly, it doesn't do anybody any good. It makes you feel bad because you're not showing up as your full, sparkly self. It makes others feel a little bit resentful towards you because you're making no secret of the fact that you don't want to be there doing what you're doing. Honesty is difficult, especially when the opportunity or the chance of disappointing somebody is there. And I did something today which I was worried was going to disappoint a few people. But in order to be able to refill my cup, it was a necessary thing. I admitted that I was feeling guilty about it, but that I'd chosen to honour the decision I'd made anyway. And I think being honest about what we need and why, you can't just say, hey, I'm not going to do the thing. If there is a reason that your energy is just so depleted, your cup's so empty, that you're actually doing a disservice by showing up, honour that. And maybe you'll just change the culture of your relationships as well. where instead of showing up regardless, putting your needs last, maybe you'll be able to invite a conversation about when it's okay not to show up. And our relationships are what we make of them, right? If people give you a hard time, and they might, you can take their feedback, but you don't have to take it to heart. If you're just looking for an excuse to duck out of the thing that you said you'd do, then maybe you need to have a conversation with yourself about your boundaries and the things that you're agreeing to. It's important to honour our commitments, because we tell ourselves when we do this that we are a person that we can count on. But there are some times when we need to re-examine our commitments to others so that we can prioritise our own needs. So, one more quote from Mark Manson this time. Vulnerability is so important and so powerful. Not just for you to be able to express your pain and shame, but because expressing it means you're giving others who have also remained silent permission to express theirs. It's healing not just for you, but for all those around you. And this is what I mean about changing the culture of our relationships. If we can talk about emotional and mental needs and prioritising self-care in the less obvious ways, our relationships are going to be able to support us on different levels, and we're going to be able to support those we care about. I'm not saying that disappointment suddenly stops being a thing. You know, if you're looking forward to doing something with somebody and they say, sorry, I can't do that thing today, of course you're going to feel a little let down and a little disappointed. But self-awareness and emotional regulation means that you realise that this isn't somebody else's doing, that this is your response to it. And the same goes for if you step away from something you said you would do. Other people are entitled to have feelings about your new course of action. It doesn't mean that you need that to derail your new chosen course, but it means be aware of that and know that that's okay too. People are allowed to feel how they feel, just as you're allowed to feel how you feel. So maybe that's giving you something to think about today, about it being okay not to be okay, and it being okay to disappoint people if it means prioritising your own well-being. But the caveat for this, yes, prioritise your own well-being, but don't be a dick about it. Don't expect that people are going to be able to read your mind and know what's going on with you. You do need to have a conversation. And yes, that conversation might take more energy than you feel that you have. But it's respect and it's consideration. And if you don't have respect or consideration for the person that you are bailing on, then maybe come back to that thought about who you're actually letting into your life and who you're spending time with, because that is a separate issue that does need addressing. Alright, let's hug it out and say goodbye for today. So inhale the arms out wide to either side and smile up at the sky, and then cross the right arm over the left as you bring it in for your nice first side of this hug. Breathe into it. Notice how good it feels. And then take it over to the other side. This time left arm crosses on top of the right. Give yourself the hug you need. And then bring it back to center. Until we're together again, hopefully tomorrow for the last couple of days. Mind how you go, sweet thing.